Poleciliście mi, żebym obejrzał analizę Elity, więc dzisiaj to zrobimy, moi drodzy. Zapraszam serdecznie. Skoncentrujemy się może nie na tym, że opowiada nam, co się wydarzyło w tym odcinku, no bo przede wszystkim my to wiemy, więc może pójdziemy sobie nieco dalej. Okej, tutaj zacznijmy, bo to będzie mega istotne.
But lucky cameraman starts opening the doors with his remote control, and on the right side we can actually see a text that says Test Lab C.
Czyli to było, widzicie, ja nie mogłem dostrzec, co tam jest napisane, a tu jest Test Lab, czyli laboratorium testowe.
-33/A. And I went to rewatch episode 33 to see if it was an Easter egg of some sorts, but there wasn't much to it since it was the episode where G-Man Toilet destroyed the YouTube HQ. If you think there is a hidden meaning behind it, let me know. After running through the hallway, lucky cameraman closes down all the doors and we actually see the door.
Wydaje mi się, że jak on zhakuje i zamknie te drzwi, to już nie można ich otworzyć, więc Skibidi Toilet mają problem.
We saw on the first merch store leaked 2 days ago. And as we guessed, this really was a very special room because the stuff that were revealed to us still blows my mind.
No, tam są rzeczy takie,
After
że nie
entering the
wiem.
room, the plunger cameraman looks around for a second, and we can see some many stuff. It's crazy. This place is like a collector's room where he hides his precious toys. And there is anything you can think of, but
Wszystkie rzeczy, które wydarzyły się, nie? Taka historia
before we
trochę.
talk about these, did you know
Jak te kości
that the
dinozaurów.
mouthless toilet actually could be seen right when they enter the room? Plunger cameraman actually saw the mouthless toilet peeking through one of the containers right before he hid behind.
Tak jak myślałem, słuchajcie, ja dobrze myślałem, że tutaj będzie ten...
To wait for the perfect
Patrzcie, dobrą analizę
moment,
zrobiłem
which is a
wcześniej.
creepy little detail that you might have missed.
Tak, tam
The
był
first
gość.
two things we see are the two weapons inside the window cases, which are not clear in this frame, but later we can see that one of them is a knife that Speakerman
Nóż i włócznia.
used, and the other is a spear. And I'm gonna be honest, if that spear belonged to anyone I don't remember.
No właśnie, bo jak to są rzeczy, które zebrali od kogoś, to ciekawe jest, kto miał włócznię.
I don't remember seeing it ever.
No właśnie.
This also might mean that there is someone out there that uses spears as his or her weapon, which might be a foreshadow in itself.
TV Man? Specjalny agent TV Man?
The next thing we see is one of the octopus arms. I may be wrong, but I first remember seeing them in episode 44, where the Titan TV man
No to
fought
są te
against the
same,
toilet
tak.
with these arms. The next X is a huge knife, which I assume Titan Speakerman used to have. I don't remember him losing a knife. In episode
No jak rzucał przecież do tego, nie? Wbił w Tytana TV Mana chyba.
65 and 67, we saw Titan Speakerman's knives, but I don't know if it was exactly like this. And for this to be here, I feel like it has been here for
A ten, co wrzucił w TV Mana, jak
a
walczyli
while.
pierwszy raz?
Next thing we see is the
Znaczy
workbench
wbił.
on the left. And it's actually the same workbench we saw
Jak
in
ze
episode
shorta.
16 a long time ago, when the cameraman
No.
infiltrated the first ever Skibidi lab ever and after rewatching that episode, and seeing the picture on the wall and connecting the dots with episode 68 part 2. The lore actually blew my mind, but I'll get into that in a second when we start talking about the big reveal in today's episode.
To są ci naukowcy
The
chyba.
next thing we see is one of the cameras from the spider cameras from earlier episodes, like episode 22, when they were fighting
pajęcze
G-Man
kamery.
Toilet. Next to it are probably the legs of it, and right next to that is one of the jetpacks from the Titans. But the most shocking thing they
To
have
jest chyba jetpack Tytana TV
is
Mana.
on the top, which is the actual
Ręka.
arm of Titan Cameraman from episode 20, when he lost his arm for the first time. It's crazy that the toilet salvaged that. This really shows the dedication they have to improve, because they probably have been using all these materials to reverse engineer it and make it better to use it themselves for upgrades.
Po prostu kradły
Under
technologię.
the arm, there is something that looks like a core of some sorts, but I got no idea what it is. And next to it is one of the
Core?
machines from
tutaj,
episode
no.
16 once again. Also next to that is a huge speaker, which might be one of Titan Speakerman's old speakers. And lastly, there is a pair of sunglasses on a stand. But even though this whole room made us feel nostalgic, the craziness starts at this moment. Instantly, when Plunger Cameraman turns to his right, we see something on the wall. But first, Plunger Cameraman moves to the table and he sees a clipboard that has some Skibidi writing on it, and two toilets, one being the scientist toilet, and the other being one of the astro toilets. We will never know what's written on here since it's in Skibidi language, but the one common thing in this image is the red eyes the scientist toilet and the astro toilets have. And I don't know why they are in the same clipboard here,
Może czerwone oczy oznaczają to, że oni są bardziej inteligentni od
but
zwykłych.
it does seem like they are being compared to one another. Or it might be because they both have red eyes. I'm not sure, but there is a chance that the red eyes entail something important. Also behind the scientist toilet there seems
No i jest napis na czerwono, nie?
to be some sort of a logo.
Ale tutaj, słuchajcie, coś jest. Tu jest coś ważnego chyba. Nie wiadomo, co to jest tło.
But it's not clear at all. Only thing I know is that he probably will be losing his head next episode if it continues like this. What happened right after this moment will be remembered as the biggest reveal of Skibidi Toilet ever, because the next frame we saw has revealed more in just a few seconds than the entire 70-episode series have revealed so far. Plunger Cameraman looks at a picture on the wall that's like a news snippet,
Sekretny
and it
agent.
says, Alpha Hills Labs gets new administrator. Government-sponsored underground laboratory assigned a new administrator. Details and reason for the deal remain in secrecy. February 7th, 1979, before we talk about the picture itself. The date might either be February 7th or July 2nd, depending on which dating structure Dafuk is using, but we are going to go with February 7th because, weirdly enough, if you go to the first ever
No
Skibidi
właśnie, ta sama
toilet
data.
video and check the upload date,
No.
it says February 7th. This probably is an Easter egg trying to say, this is when it all started, which means the man we see in this image, the new administrator who is the secret agent we know of, is probably the real reason behind the Skibidi toilets. But
No
it gets
właśnie.
even crazier than that because it looks like Dafuk has been planning this all along and has been thinking of every small fricking detail, because if you look to the right of the secret agent, the baldy scientist we see can actually be seen in episode 16 as a normal toilet who was working with the scientist toilet, who also can be seen again in episode 68 part 2, and is the upgraded toilet who killed our beloved large cameraman. I'm gonna be honest, the dedication to details in this series is crazy.
Kurde, nieźle. Czyli dobrze mówiłem, że ja już gdzieś go
Besides
widziałem.
this, I think the scientist on the farthest left was also in episode 16 as a toilet, but I'm not sure if it's the same person. But the main thing we have to talk about in this image is the two gentlemen in the middle. We all know who the secret agent is, but the man he is shaking hands
To jest z rządu, nie?
with is
Przedstawiciel.
actually one of the models Dafuk likes using a lot, and it's the male 09 model. For a while now, people have been guessing that male 09 will eventually have some sort of a role in the series, and I guess they were right because I don't think his journey would end here. I think this foreshadows the fact that he'll actually become a prominent part of the series.
Może to ten gość jest tym głównym, wiecie, przeciwnikiem.
And might be the
Nie agent, tylko ten z rządu.
nemesis for the secret agent because we got a couple possibilities. First of all, let's think of the reason why this lab got a new administrator in the first place. We don't know
No właśnie, co się stało z poprzednim szefem.
the real intentions of the secret agent, but it really doesn't seem like he is on the side of toilets, so the fact that he was a part of this experiment might mean that he came in too late. Maybe the government was aware that these scientists were cooking up something shady and assigned him to take control. But it was too late, and now he is trying to stop this whole mess. You also need to think about the fact that someone must have created the cameraman, speakerman, and TV man races.
No właśnie.
If Skibidi toilets were the result of an experiment, the same goes for the rest. Maybe secret agent, or if the roles were reversed, male 09 created them. We probably won't get the answer to this for a while, but this really is a cornerstone for the series.
No, dużo tutaj nie wyjaśniło to wszystko aż tak dużo, bo jest coraz więcej
But there is
pytań, nie?
one thing that's shady. There is no scientist toilet in this
No
image, which is
właśnie,
weird
naukowca
considering
tu
he
nie
is
ma.
the scientist toilet. Also, this image explains why and how the secret agent is able to create all these tech devices that give him powers. It looks like he actually was a genius, and the reason he knows the bunker in and out is his past. But there is still one question remaining, and it is why he wanted to get in, because in episode 68 part 2, we saw him teleport inside for something when the squad was looking inside the factory.
No właśnie, wy mówiliście, że ja się mylę, ale rzeczywiście tam była zielona poświata, jakby on się tam teleportował. Być może wysadzi ten
And he gave a
laboratorium.
mission to the lucky cameraman. Right after looking at the image,
Myślę, że ma po prostu odwrócić uwagę ten zespół, a on coś
Plunger
zrobi.
Cameraman turns to the lucky
Nowe
cameraman,
ten
and he is
sekretny
actually
agent.
holding a book that has an image of a TV. And looking at Lucky Cameraman's reaction, this book may not have been stolen but given to the toilets because Lucky Cameraman really looked disappointed. I don't know what's inside the book, but it surely does look very, very old and might have some secrets inside which we probably will never get to see.
Pewnie stąd się nauczyli teleportacji, tak? I stąd opracowali technologię TV-menów.
At least in the near future. But there is also the chance that these were stolen. Either way, this room is full of mess-ups that the Alliance has made, and they can clearly see the reflection of their mistakes in the past. And what happens right after does not help them at all because suddenly the lucky cameraman gets pierced through the back just like that, and we see the return of the mouthless claw toilet from episode 42.
No, to
And it
jest ta
seems like
ninja
he was hella
toaleta.
upgraded because he not just his claws got upgraded, but now he has a whole TV monitor attached to him, which means the TV we saw on Scientist Toilet wasn't a one-time thing, and it's something they can probably mass produce. The second one of the cameraman realizes his presence, he starts using the stun gun on him, and it seems like it's working, but a stun gun doesn't work on a TV, so the upgraded claw toilet uses his TV monitor, and we start seeing the death beam once again. And it looks like Defuk actually made some new VFX for
Teraz już wiemy, co kamery widzą, jest to promowanie, czyli end yourself, to czerwone.
this, and shows us why the cameraman actually kill themselves when this beam is shown. It actually spams the words end yourself
Czyli
backwards
tak jakby hakują, nie?
infinitely until the person seeing it
Ale jak to działa też na Skibidi Toilet, to znaczy, że Skibidi Toilet mają jakieś połączenie z
lives
kameramenami.
themselves, which is crazy. And this scene was utterly terrifying. The fact that if Dark Speakerman wasn't there, Plunger Cameraman would have been killed is insane, but thankfully Bro saves his best friend by pushing him, and Plunger Cameraman puts the lens protector he got from the large cameraman instantly to not be affected by the beam anymore, but sadly while this is going on, the cameraman with the stun gun kills himself,
Urwał
and this
głowę
leaves
sobie.
the upgraded claw toilet free, and he starts attacking the Dark Speakerman. Thankfully, Plunger Cameraman throws his plunger in time and uses the dart gun he got earlier to shoot the claw toilet's eyes before smashing his head with the spiky plunger. Here, if you look carefully at the Dark Speakerman, we can actually see that his headphones are now broken, but the saddest scene in today's episode appear right after this, and it's the death of Lucky Cameraman. We see that he is lying dead on the floor, at least we think he is.
Oj, słuchajcie, ja tego nie zauważyłem, ale skoro głośnik nie ma już tych słuchawek, to głośnik może zginąć.
Alongside this, his tablet is broken and has a message on it, but it's impossible to read. Plunger Cameraman instantly takes the remote control, but I'm gonna be honest, I think there is a chance that the secret agent teleports and saves the lucky cameraman, because at the end of the day, he is still the lucky cameraman, and
No
was the
właśnie.
only cameraman that had direct contact with the secret agent as far as we know until now.
Już go wcześniej uratował,
Even
nie?
if this does happen, I don't think we'll see it for a long, long time. And if it does, once we do see it, the lucky cameraman probably would evolve into something completely new. After Plunger Cameraman looks at the body of the lucky cameraman, he hears the Dark Speakerman breaking one of the cages to get a spear and decides to get some tools for himself as well, and it's the new cameraman tools. But the question is, how do the toilets have this already? These upgrades were just given out to Cameraman probably a couple hours ago. This may seem small, but this might entail that there actually is a traitor in the Alliance who is giving info to the toilets. We'll talk more about this in a later episode.
Czy był gdzieś wcześniej już ten jetpack? To jest pytanie. Jak się tak zastanowić... No Ninja już wcześniej miał ten jetpack, słuchajcie. To nie jest tak, już wcześniej używano
But after
jetpacków.
this scene, we basically see
Ninja
the
miał
duo get
chociażby.
ready to fight and start moving through the hallway, and the episode ends. I think we can safely assume that the next episode there will see some blood and see the fight with the scientist toilet. This episode was honestly a treat for us analysis YouTubers. Also, before I end the video, make sure to check my Skibidi toilet Roblox.
Moi drodzy, nieźle.